Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Fake Book Club podcast, where we talk about everything from movies, music, life, and occasionally the books we are reading. Follow wherever it is you find your podcasts, and we hope you enjoy season two, episode three. I'm Whitney, and I am here today with my co host, Tabrizia,
Hello.
Chris,
Hi.
Tessa,
Hello.
and last but certainly not least, Evelyn.
Hello.
So we're gonna kick it off with our first topic. Welcome back, Tessa.
Woo.
Um, t Tell us where you were and what you did while you were away.
So for about 2 weeks, I was out of the country and I went to Tokyo and Manila like with my family. And I got back just last week and I'm currently suffering jet lag.
Not last week, like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Did I just
It-
does
well,
it
no, no,
count
no. It
now?
was. I mean, it's
It's
been
some
a few
it's
days. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely been a couple of days since I arrived. But like it
Um,
feels like last week because I feel like Sunday is sometimes the start of a new week.
hmm,
Yeah,
True.
so and we
yeah.
are recording this on a Sunday.
Yes. But welcome back. You went to Tokyo, currently suffering jet lag. Want to share with us some of your highlights,
I will
some
say
cool things that you did while you were gone?
I'm very sorry I did not see any hot Japanese idols for you.
That is true. I did ask you to look for Japanese. I mean, what does a Japanese idol look like nowadays?
That's fair. That's
Um,
fair. Because so the first leg of my trip was like Tokyo, and what really threw me off was the fact that like even though I flew out like one day, like I flew out on like basically like I flew out on the 6th, then like landed there on the 7th, but I didn't get to start exploring Tokyo until the 8th. So it was like, oh, I have such a short time to be here. But like some of the main highlights for me personally was like seeing Shibuya in person for the first time. I love like as somebody who is such a big fan of like The World Ends With You, the video game, and like games like Persona 5, like which all take place like in that general area. Like I was so excited to see a lot of the things in person because I got to walk along the Shibuya Scramble crossing. I
so that is, I get Shibuya and Shinjuku mixed up, but
ah,
Shibuya is
ah
the one
yes,
with the big.
they are also pretty much right next to each other. So
Mhm.
like I was supposed to like go to Shinjuku as well, but like I definitely ran out of time. I what do you call it? But Shibuya was oh, I got to see the 10-9 building, and actually like went up several floors, and it's truly like fashion haven. Like it's insane in there. I got to see Hachiko. Lots of people were lined up for it, and there was like a big, I think it was an Akita, like there was when I was there, like someone took their Akita like with them to take pictures with Hachiko. It was so cute. It was the biggest fluffiest dog I saw. And like what else was this? I made it to the Shibuya Parko building because the 6th floor is where the Pokemon Center is. And I will say, like, one, seeing Mewtwo in like that big capsule is like kind of life affirming because I'm just really there, like, free him. Yeah. And like, the thing is, it was so busy in there. It was like shoulder to shoulder people, lots of people. And I definitely spent more time in the line for checkout than I did browsing the place. But like I'm glad I went. I'm glad I made it. Yeah, that was like oh, we went to the Don Quixote, the mega Don Quixote that's in Shibuya. And like to my understanding, it's the biggest Don Quixote that currently exists. Because they actually have like mega Don Quixote like out front.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's huge.
Did you sing the song?
Oh my god.
Oh, the Bruno Mars song, yeah.
There are
No,
other
like
theme
the
songs.
Oh,
Don
I know, but Bruno
Quixote.
Mars is what's
I think they go Donkey, Donkey, Don Quixote. I think that's what. So it's that interspersed with the Bruno Mars commercial. Like it actually plays a lot in that store, and it's kind of vaguely hypnotizing. It has a hypnotic effect, and you're going up and down like several floors. Like it's huge. Like I keep saying, like it ate us alive. Like I don't know what it is about that store. I definitely lost a couple of hours in there.
So is a Don Quixote like a Daiso?
It
Because I've never been.
see there's a huge difference. Like it feels more like a department store almost, except really like in a really condensed way. Cause like there's a when I go to the first floor, it's a lot of like souvenir touristy stuff, and then you go to another floor and it's like all snacks, like every single flavor of Kit Kat that you can think of, and literally every other like snack that you can think of, like is all up there. There's also like a floor that's all cosmetics. There's a floor that's all like apparel, and like what actually really surprised me was like there was like a glass display of Vivian Westwood jewelry specifically. I have no way of telling how legit that stuff is, but like extremely accessible for like a lot of people if it's sitting in a Don Quixote. Um yeah, and I think like what else did I find there? Like it's basically like organized like by per floor there's a different thing there. I think one of the floors is dedicated to character goods. So it's like Sanrio, Miffy is there. There's definitely like a small Pokemon section. So many characters. I'm I'm
So
off.
you left with the whole store, basically.
I
Is what I'm
wish I le-
hearing.
I wish I left with the whole store. My one regret about leaving Japan is that I didn't shop more. Like I shopped, I feel like a perfectly moderate amount, but like I feel like I really feel like coming home I should have shopped. Like once I was here at home, I was like I should have shopped more. I really should have. I shouldn't have hesitated. That was my that was my fault. Yeah, that was the Shibuya experience for me. But like one of the best parts of my trip was like going to Asakusa, and it's like it was like a very cultural like area of Tokyo. It's where like it's where the Kaminarimon is. Like it's also known as the Thunder Gate, and that's where you see that big gate with the giant red lantern in the middle. That's the place. That's the like opening to the Sensoji temple, which is the oldest Buddhist temple in Japan, and I think among one of the earliest, if not the first established Buddhist temple in Japan. So like we had a walking tour there, and like wherein we got to go through that area, and like go to like several neighboring areas where like they our guide talked a lot about like the history of Buddhism in Japan, the history of this temple, the like the symbolism and like all of the other like statues and everything else there. It was actually really interesting, and like the thing was, the more I learn about like Japanese culture, like in like history and beliefs, the more I start to realize like and understand like jokes in like anime that I've watched in the past. Like I was in very much in real time like suddenly understanding like a joke that I had heard in an anime a long time ago, and like I had a war flashback like while the the guide was talking about like this statue is called and this statue is called and these are two like beings that like protect this gate, and I'm just here like I'm having a war flashback to like an episode of Prince of Tennis. And for those who know, like for those that don't know, rather, it's I did not understand this reference when I was a teenager, but now I understand that they refer that like they when these two players are doing a doubles match for the first time, they don't know how to play with each other. So they start using the signals of and to signal to each other how they're going to like if they're going to like go for the ball. So I'm just here like I'm learning in real time that these are references to deities. And I'm just like I can't deal with this right now. So yeah, that's just but like other than that like wonderful realization. I'm here like this is such a like this area is so full of like history, so full of like it was because if I understand correctly also this area was became an like an entertainment district as well in like Tokyo. So like there's an area that actually like I think was built to look like buildings from old Edo as well. So like and there's also a lot of food. Like there's so many food stalls and like like beer houses and it's just really really nice there. And like if I had to if one I am going to come back and two when I do I'm coming back to that area and I'm exploring it so much more thoroughly. And like in Asakusa also there's a street called Kapabashi Street which is really known for like kitchen tools. And like that area is also full of like statues and like little like references to the kappa, which is a mythological creature in Japanese like what they call this culture. And there are so many cute statues and I'm here trying to take pictures of as many as possible, but I didn't go far down the street. um it's I'm just like what's happening, like I'm my aunt who was with me was probably like what is happening, and I'm just here like taking pictures of little statues like as they pop up. So yeah, like well there's still for me personally there's more to explore, and this was just like a tasting of like what I got to what like what more there is to do in Tokyo. And I'm like I have to come back. I'm desperately like planning like a bucket list of other things I want to do. And like now among them, now among that bucket list is going to be an attempt to see Mount Fuji for real for real.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we went in because we went in early March. Um the thing is um Mount Fuji is if I understand it again correctly, it the top is covered in snow like for most of the year if not all of the year. But like in this because we're just coming out of winter, the roads to Mount Fuji and like the general area is still covered in snow and is still too icy and cold. So our tour was supposed to take us to the fifth station of Mount Fuji. And if we couldn't make it to the fifth station, we would go to the first station. And because that was the safest like place to reach. However, the road was also closed to the first station, so they took us to the Heritage Center instead. And
Is
on the
this
day
where that Lawson's is, where the townspeople don't want tourists to take photos?
I mean, it is a very risky like trip. If you go there like when the roads are dangerous, obviously. But yeah, no, we got taken to like the Heritage Center. It's basically like a tourist center where you get to see like videos about Mount Fuji. You get to buy a lot of souvenirs. You get to like you get to take some pictures. Like that's. But I I I fell prey definitely to like the cafe upstairs, because the cafe on the second floor is selling these soft serve ice creams that are like colored like Mount Fuji. So it's like a little it's like a little soft serve cone, partially blue and then white on top like Mount Fuji, and I'm just like this is adorable. This is so cute.
Did you have it, or
i
was it
I
like
absolutely had it, yes. and it's snowing. I'm here like outside in the snow, like eating a soft serve.
Ice cream in the winter is the best. What are you talking about?
I mean, yes, I agree, but also I'm just here like realizing like in that moment like, oh yeah, it's cold and I'm eating ice cream because I fell for this for this little gimmick. But yeah, like along with the fact that it was snowy and icy out there was the fact that like there was so much cloud cover and so much fog and so much like you you could just not see past like a certain point because of that cloud cover. And even though we went on like a cruise on Lake Ashi in Hakone where you're supposed to be able to see Mount Fuji, and also like we went up a cable car on Mount Komagatake, if I recall correctly. Yeah, there's a ropeway like going up the mountain like in a cable car, and like you're supposed to be able to see also Mount Fuji from there. And here's the thing, about like a few moments before we reached the top, you saw nothing. It was white. It was zero visibility. Like, oh my god. Like you stepped out and like the fog is around your feet, and like the there's like you're on the top of the mountain, and like you, if you go to like where the edge is, like you know where it's safe for you to stand, like nothing. It's all fog. Mount Fuji hid its face from us this entire time.
My my thing is, it's like you had to pay for this. Did you get like a refund? Because I'm like, I'm not paying full
No,
price. I can't even see it.
here's the thing, like no regarding the refund, and the entire tour has like backup plans upon backup plans should something like not be available for us to go to. And like overall the experience was still good, and we got to you, like, yes, you didn't see Mount Fuji, but you still went up the cable car ropeway. You still got to go on a cruise on the lake, and you did get to see like a bunch of like, you know, relevant areas. Like the experience is not like completely moot. Yeah, there was a lot. Like Hakone is actually a really nice place, and I've heard that like the hot springs there are really nice. So like maybe for a future trip, like I'll hit it. Um, yeah. The one thing that I also in the main city area, like when we came, because so from Hakone and from what do you call it? Or I think like another city, like I think we had to make our way to another city in order to take the Shinkansen. So we took the Shinkansen back to Tokyo, and we the end point for us was Tokyo Station, and like it's a beautiful building. Like it's gorgeous. Like it's such an iconic like piece of architecture like in Tokyo, and it's one of the busiest stations like ever. It's sprawling. Like I feel like you know Grand Central Terminal could never. It's just huge and sprawling, and so many train lines converge there. Um, I was looking for a specific store inside Tokyo Station, and it's a maze in there. It is a maze. And apparently, like some other people who tried to find this same store spent 2 hours wandering in Tokyo Station and to find it. And I definitely spent almost that much time, and I never found it. And one of my friends told me later on, like, because I had told my friends I've discovered hell, and hell is the inside of Tokyo Station. And yeah, and she told me, yeah, and that store you're looking for is in the devil's armpit.
So
Yeah,
don't shop for anything in Tokyo Station.
I mean, it is a prime place for shopping because if you're looking for character goods, there is a literal quote unquote street inside Tokyo Station that's all character goods. If I recall correctly, a small version of the Kirby Cafe is in there. We passed it, and I could not even stop to appreciate it because there were so many people. Like there are lines upon lines, and there are like, you know, tourists upon tourists, even locals. Everybody is there, and everybody wants to eat, to like get into the jump shop. everybody wants to get into the Pokemon Center because there was a Pokemon store there. Everyone wants a Sanrio item. Everybody wants like, you know, it was a lot. It was
Oh
just a
my
lot.
goodness.
I was the one who made the mistake of wandering into the character street, but uh fun times, there is also a ramen street in there. So perhaps one day when I am less traumatized. But
Maybe. I
yeah,
feel like this conversation will definitely tie into what we are going to talk about later, but
yes.
uh tell us the you got to go to Tokyo, right? But I think the more important part of this trip was going to Manila to see your family and with your family to see more family. So tell us
Yes.
a little bit about that.
I wow. Most of the family that like I saw in Manila like this year, like I had not seen in about 14 years, which is a huge like gap for anyone. Like I had a cousin who I think was like early teens when I was there last, and she's part of the workforce now. So I'm just like, oh my god, like you grew up without me seeing like what happened, it's absolutely wild. But yeah, it was a the I think in as much as like, so I said Tokyo was short, Manila was also equally short. And we were trying to accomplish a lot of things in a short period of time, see a lot of family in a short period of time. And um like w- w- my family is used to having like these big parties where like a bunch of people come and like bring food and like a potluck and start like catching up and like telling each other like what the latest happenings are. And like I basically spent like a whole like evening doing that with my family, and then followed by other appointments that like my the rest of my family had to do. But one of the things that was like really important to me was like getting to see my childhood home again. Like I grew up in that house like for obviously like since I was born till I was about 22. So like a lot of my life is still in that house. So one of the things I picked up were a bunch of like my sketchbooks and journals and like notebooks from like when I was a teenager. It's all like pretty folk because I went through them like while I was there very briefly, and I checked the years on all of them, and they're pretty solidly from like 2003 to 2009. Like solid 2000, solid double O's. And because I arrived in the US like at the beginning of like the 2010s. So yeah,
Well,
like
yes. So it's been a while.
mm-hmm. And like these are like solid memories like from the 2000s, and when I was getting into fandom, when I was learning to draw, teaching myself to draw. And it's very much like that. If any of you have watched the Pixar movie Turning Red, there's a part in that movie where she starts drawing and like like hides under her bed and starts quote unquote like risking like these like drawings of this teenage boy, and like starts thinking about like being attracted to them. And I'm like, that is the same spirit in which like my old sketchbooks are like drawn in, because there's a lot of like, this is me getting into anime, this is me getting into video games, there's a lot of Pokemon like drawings in there. And I'm just here like really like, it is a very embarrassing journey from 2003 to 2000.
I feel like we can all look back at things that we've made when we were teenagers and be like,
And
oh God.
and that is why I tossed all of my sketchbooks out from that era.
I actually I do actually
Well, I
have.
wouldn't be that dramatic about it.
No, I scanned in like the ones that like the drawings that were actually good, but then I just tossed the rest of them because I was like, this is just taking up space now. Tessa wouldn't let me like get an oil drum and burn them.
Look, now that like I have returned with all of my old like sketchbooks, I now kind of
Right?
like
Yes. Yes, fire is the only way to purge these from the world.
I'm also thinking about setting them on fire.
But it's kind of true because there's so many of them, right? And then you're like, am I going to refer back to it? Or it's the embarrassment quotient versus the nostalgia quotient. Like, which one weighs more? And then if it's too embarrassing, just toss it.
Yeah. Or if it's just not good. I mean, you could be real. Yeah. Some drawings are just not good.
You can distinctly see the phases because like 2003 is when I started doing it, and I was basically like either reproducing like comic book pages or like illustrations and like or tracing. I'm pretty sure I was tracing for a bit
probably
because what was happening also was like I was putting new outfits on like characters I liked and things like that. So like that's part of that. And I'm pretty sure I tried to send like one of these drawings like to the publisher.
Oh, like right here to send fan mail to
yeah.
Or
like,
I love it.
It was very much like design a new outfit for this character, and I'm just like, I thought I cooked. I did not. Just FYI.
Oh my god! If you could send me a quick picture of that outfit, I would love it.
Before and after. Just do a before and after of like your least cringiest art from 2003.
Oh my god. I think like so here's the thing. During that time, Witch the Witch series, the Witch comic series was being published in like a Filipino magazine, like or rather like sorry. I don't know what licensing there was in this particular junction, but like I know that the publisher was based in the Philippines. Obviously, Witch is an Italian like comic, and the Italian magical girl comic, and I know it had some licensing and like some in like America at around the same time, but like Filipino like Witch comic like culture was like a huge phenomenon like in the around that time. Like we were actually able to send in letters and stuff to that particular like what it goes office like in the Philippines that was publishing it, because I'm just here like, oh my gosh, like we're interacting like with this like comic real time. I thought, and then like, oh, I think it was just I think it was just like a particularly like different arrangement. I'm not even sure. Anyway, one of the things I had done was like I think I had designed like an outfit for one of the girls in Witch, and like I believe I sent it in. I could be wrong because I'm pretty sure we had a scanner and I may have emailed it, something like that. I believe that was the route I went through. God. Anyway, yeah, this is, I guess, like for me, like the sketchbooks and the notebooks and the journals that I've brought back are very much like me beginning to get into fandom, beginning to participate in fandom. There's just a lot of that there, like, and also the effort that I went through to decorate like my notebooks specifically. Like this was during my Bleach phase, like because I was watching
Bleach is never a phase. Bleach is forever.
It's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
So I had a notebook wherein like I covered it in white paper and I drew like the same like design that like they have on the Captains in Soul Society. And for some reason I was fixated on what was it?
The short ice one?
No, not him. I was obsessed with Soy Fawn. So that was like two, like the I don't know what they're called because I know they're like teams of some kind. So it was the second team and she was like special ops. So I had that and I had their symbol on the back of the notebook. Like I designed it like the Howry that they wear. And then like on the inside cover, I had like written my name, but in the style of the Bleach logo with the flames on the side.
Blue Flames Eternal.
It was insane. So I'm just here like, who is this? Who was this girl in the 2000s who was
A,
out here like
a girl of taste who knew that Bleach was amazing.
Still maintain that zombie powder was better than bleach, but continue.
I mean, you would not be wrong, but also there's only one volume of zombie powder.
I know.
And only one volume of Burn the Witch. So
yeah.
God.
Yes. But before we move on to our next topic, just want you to briefly touch on the book festival that you went to.
Yes.
While you were in the Philippines.
Yeah, during during the weekend that I was there, the Philippine Book Festival was going on. And it was a free event. You just had to register to get in. And like it's basically like a big book con. And lots of little stalls, lots of authors, cartoonists, like a lot of people were there. Apparently also like I did not witness this necessarily, but apparently there was a Wattpad story that got really popular and got a live action adaptation in the Philippines. And one of the local celebs was visiting the mall where the con was being had, where the festival was being had, to like, promote it. And at a certain point when like my friends and I were like, trying to leave the festival, we heard screaming from the other side of like the convention hall, and we were like, oh, they're here, run. Time to go in the opposite direction so that we don't get like, trapped like in the crowd of fans. But yeah, Philippine publishing is like a very strange beast, I think. There's a lot of the reason why we went there was like my friend and I were coming to see like one of our professors was like a very popular historian of Philippine history, and I had picked up some of his new books because he writes a lot of essays, and it's those essays which are really really like entertaining for me to, and like also very like enlightening for me with regards to Philippine history in general, and keeps me very connected to like, you know, the Philippines in general. Like it keeps me kind of like, oh yeah, this was an aspect of like Philippine culture that like I was slowly starting to forget, and then through these essays, like kind of just get more context for the reasons why like that's a part of our culture. So like I love his essays. I'd had my some old books signed by him before when I was still in his class. But now like I'm back 14 years later to see him again and say, "Hey, like great new compilations, please sign. Thank you." Also, we were
Did he remember you?
he obviously I do not believe he remembered me. But like but because both my friend and I were in his class, like he was just very appreciative that we'd come around to say hi.
So, how many books did you bring back?
uh um 3 from this historian, 1 from this very popular horror writer in the Philippines, and 1 uh comic book compilation from this popular cartoonist. So 5 from the Philippines.
So no more than 5, Tabrizia. When you come back. From when you come back. Well, we all know Teresa's going to bring back so many books, but we'll talk more about that later.
That was a call out. Oh my god.
I just love teasing Teresa about her giant book collection, but we all have things we like to collect. That's for sure.
I did hear that the record for Tabrizia bringing home books was like what, over 30?
And that was just ALA.
Oh.
That was in ALA.
Oh, how many books did you bring back from ALA?
I don't remember. I gave some I gave away. They were most of them. I think I can any of the books that I brought back from ELA. I think I didn't. I think I kept for myself like 5. Everything else was I gave away at work, like or I gave one to Tessa.
Yes.
Yeah, there was not that much that I actually like kept. It was like 5 or so.
Yeah. Oh, so for folks that might be listening later, ALA is the American Library Association, of which I'm I let my membership lapse, so technically I'm not a part of it, but it's what oversees our profession, I guess, which better or worse. But yes, but thank you so much, Tessa, for talking so much about your trip. Hopefully we can get some photos up on our page for folks to look at. But moving on to our next topic, we haven't done this in a minute, I don't think.
I think it's been like 4 episodes, maybe 5.
Yes, we have not actually. We are a fake book club podcast, and we have not spoken about our fake books, or things that were, or
fake
things
books.
that were fake books, or kind of talked more generally about things that we're reading, things that we are watching. I'm doing a bunch of reading, so I don't want to think about books right now, but I am going to briefly, before I kick it off with what I'm watching. I am on a national book award thing where I'm reading a bunch of graphic novels, and there are a few titles I'm super looking forward to reading, and that one of them is Girl Mode by Michelle Visaggio. And then Lunar Boy, which I think is on a work best book list. So super looking forward to that. Hopefully no more bad artwork like the ones that I showed you previously, because that was horrible.
Oh, I forgot.
I wish I could. So just gonna kick it off super briefly about what I'm watching right now. I've just finished watching episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again, which is, I'm mad about it, so I think I'm gonna cool it till it finishes at the end of in the next few weeks. But I am really loving the Pitt on HBO Max or whatever it is that it wants to be called these days, and it's a very hyper realistic show about an ER, and it stars Noah Wiley from ER, or the Librarians, or whatever other show that you might know him from, because who knows. So it's about this ragtag team of like hospital workers, the new, what do they call it? The interns, like the baby doctors, different residents. And like I said, it's very hyper realistic. And it takes, one season is their 12-hour shift. So each episode is an hour of their day. And there's just one, and I say that it's hyper realistic because this last episode, which I think was like episode like 8 or 9, this woman was giving birth. She was a surrogate and she was giving birth. They were all up in there with the camera. Like, you saw the blood, you saw the head, but obviously it wasn't like real because I don't think she was actually pregnant, but like you saw the baby coming out, you saw like the placenta, the everything just come. I was like, oh, this is crazy.
Also, did you say that each episode is just 1 hour of a 12-hour shift?
Yeah. And so much happens.
That's a lot of things happening. Like,
yeah.
There's
well, it's an ER.
Oh god.
in an urban area. So yeah, it's going to be crazy.
It does kind of remind me of like 24. Like
yeah,
but like
not terrorism, but
No, but
except
no.
people terrorizing the hospital staff, and it's just very reflective of the current state of
I
like
feel
hospitals and hospital workers, and it's like we need to get our satisfaction rates up, but I'm like, how can you provide better satisfaction when we're short staffed and
yeah.
patients are attacking nurses and stuff? So
Oh
Dude,
god.
so wait, sorry. I just looked it up. Each title is the hour that it takes place in. That's insane.
God.
7 a.m.
it
Part of me also thinks like 12 hours of a hospital shift versus the 24 hours that what's his name, Kiefer Sutherland, has to like stop a terrorist.
Jack Bauer. Yeah.
Jack Bauer. Yeah, thank you, the character name Jack Bauer like could not compare to 12 hours in an ER.
oh no. And then like one last thing about what I like about it before I move on is that it, because it's so realistic, like I saw right before we started recording, while like getting ready to to record this episode, behind the scenes thing popped up on my Facebook, and no, they went through like a 2 week boot camp by like actual real medical professionals to like learn how to do a lot of these procedures like for real, not like you're watching Grays or anything. And it's probably the most realistic hospital drama in the history of television, because one, having it on HBO, you can like see all of the stuff, and then like they're actually cutting, it's not censored, because in a lot of situations, especially in an emergency situation, they have to get your clothes off. Like you're watching Grey's Anatomy, they're still in their bra getting like shocked, but like getting resuscitated. But in this show, it's like, no, you're ass naked, like you're naked, like all of
Yeah.
your clothes are being cut up, and we're seeing penises and boobs and babies, I'll be them fake babies coming out of vaginas. And you're just like, oh, we're doing it. This is the world that we live in now. But I highly recommend, um, however it is that you watch TV and you don't have cable or subscription services, or if you don't have Max, I highly recommend finding a way to watch it because it's actually really good. And with that, I am tossing it over to Tabrizia to talk about whatever she's watching or reading.
Um, so I will go because I've been reading a lot of stuff, so I won't go into that. I'll just primarily talk about a TV show that I've recently watched, and that was Adolescence on Netflix.
Oh.
And it is by far probably one of my favorite shows of the year in the past, like probably the past decade, because like it is a show that I've never really it's completely different from other shows. It is a show that is each episode is done, it's filmed in a single shot. So they're not like multiple, it's not multiple cameras, it's one camera the entire time of the entire episode. So that's very innovative. But what is great about the setting of this TV show? So as soon as like the first episode, it shows the police going into a house and arresting a 13-year-old boy for allegedly killing. Well, you don't find out what he did. He's accused of murder. You don't find out more of the crime until towards the end of the first episode, because it goes to interrogation and also the family dealing with the effects of it. But what is why this TV series is getting a lot of buzz is because it targets a lot of things that a lot of people feel that is not being discussed more broadly, especially with cyberbullying, the increased usage of social media for teens, and also the misogynistic and incel culture that happens on social media. And it and even though that the two creators of this TV show, they said that they got the inspiration from the increased amount of knife crime that has happened in the UK. They dive in more than just the knife crime. Like I said, it talks about like the incel subculture that has been happening online, and it does bring that more into light. But I think also people should understand that this is something that has been discussed uh, for like previously in previous years past. This is not like something that's new. This has been happening a lot with teenage boys being suspected to like it being like drawn into this kind of culture, and is causing damage in with like when in their daily lives, and also in schools as well. And even though this is a great TV show, I just think like people also need to understand that this is not like a new topic. This is something that has always been discussed, but it is getting attention more because even they talked about it in their latest meeting in Parliament. They talked about the impact of this TV show, that it needs to be shown in schools, and there are just so many touching scenes in the show, like with especially the last episode with the boy's father, because there's, and I don't want to go like give spoilers on of it, but I mean they're real. It's not a thriller show. You know who is the culprit. You're identifying the factors, the contributing factors of what led to this crime that's happening. So it is a mystery or a thriller, but it's like in a different case of it, and it's just a very powerful TV show that yeah, I still think about it. Binge watch it, and well, I had to actually watch the last episode the next day because I was on the following day because I got tired. But I it was like I binge watched the entire series because I couldn't get enough of it. I was like, it would just really draws you in. It was just very engaging to watch.
Like I totally see America redoing it in some, but it won't be as good, obviously.
It won't be as good because it's like, and I think even though it it takes place in the UK, and it talks about something that like I said has been widely discussed in the UK. It is something that it does happen in the US, but it's not being discussed. And I think it's coming out more because of all the craziness that is happening now. And you have like a couple of books, like for example, Men Who Hate Women by Laura Bates is seeing like an increased usage of holds at libraries because like dealing with the current election. But now it's probably going to see increased usage of holds because of this TV show, because she did like an undercover operation of going into these communities and websites and figuring out what are they saying, like how they're able to draw in young teenage boys into these dangerous dangerous communities. And she wrote this book in 2020, and it was published in 2020, and here in 2025 now it's seeing its increased popularity. So it won't be the same. They will try to like spin it into something else, and I think they just should it should just be leave it as is, show it um how it is in to a lot of educators and schools and libraries, because I think it's just like a very important show that it discusses a subject that really needs to be highlighted.
Yeah, I think especially now in New York, where I'm sure we've all heard about how uh you can't go into certain stores in like Brooklyn Plaza, or like in Brooklyn, or teens can't, or young boys can't without being 21 or over. And that's just it's not a conversation to have today, but it's just a larger thing to think about with the state of our youth and their aimlessness. um but with that, I'm gonna set this up. So I said one book, and Chris got around it by adding a series. So I guess one series is fine. Chris, talk about your book.
Well, no. All right, look, I'll keep this brief because technically I'm rereading a series. This is the Greatcoats series, and right now I'm on book 2, which is The Night's Shadow, and it's by Sebastian de Castell. And this is a very swashbuckling adventure fantasy type of book, and it's just fun to read. And yeah, I've just finished reading the first one, so now I'm starting the second one. And like the basic plot structure is something that I feel like would have lent itself to a good like not necessarily Game of Thrones clone, but when they were making a bunch of like those fantasy series, and I guess they still are, but they're starting to fall off, and I'm like, I feel like they missed their chance to adapt this one, because it's very much like the plot of the series is a disgraced group of king's guards, musketeers, after the death of their king, they're left aimless and wandering about, and like it basically comes into like the abuse that the dukes put upon their people, and them trying to like do little justices to try to make the world a little bit better, finding like an heir to the king and trying to restore her to power. And I'm like, it's just very, there's freaking like assassins that in there that have like paralyzing powders and stuff that messes with your mind for a little bit more of a magical sense. But it's the Three Musketeers. That's all it is. Just kind of reimagined and redone, and it's very fun, very wonderful. I do like Sebastian de Castell's writing in general. He has another series called Spellslinger, and it is much more fantastical, and it is just as equal.
Tessa's giving it the thumbs up in the back.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's just as equally like fantastical. So I'm rereading the series because I want something that still has a little bit of like grit, but ultimately is about hope and trying to, do the right thing. Yeah. And then to balance that, I'm also rewatching House. So
well, don't give up your dream of it being a show. I mean, The Wheel of Time has magically still been on air, well, I mean, and I haven't heard anything about that.
I did see the like a new trailer for The Wheel of Time, and I'm like, seriously? But no, so they're actually, last I heard, turning the Spellslinger series into a TV show. So I don't think they're going to be doing the Greatcoats one, but it looks like they were trying to do the Spellslinger one into a TV show. And I'm like, that's actually harder to adapt because there is a lot more magic. And so it's going to need a lot more special effects and stuff like that. Plus, like, the main character travels around with, I forgot what it's called in the book, but it's essentially like a cross between a weasel and a, like, jaguar. Like, he travels around like a kind of, like, big cat companion. Or small cat companion, sorry.
It's a Pokemon.
Kind of, yeah. It kind of is, because it's, like, supposedly a very vicious creature in his homeland, but he's able to like connect with it, even though he has no well, point is, it's a unique thing to him, and like I think one other character that he encounters later on in the series. But I'm like, you had a fucking series that was one shorter and two a lot easier to shoot because it's just like forest and swords. You had a much easier series to adapt, but no, they went with the one that's high magic. I don't,
Well, there's a huge demand for
all
high
about money
nowadays.
I know, but they never get adapted that well.
Why do you think they're... Listen, they're trying to make a quick buck.
So you go with the low fantasy. You go with the one where it's easy to shoot, where it's a lot easier to set up on location. You don't need too much CGI. Smart. Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, yeah, that's me. That's what I've been reading, and just like keeping up on my manga.
I am just laughing at you saying very briefly that like I'm laughing at you saying, oh yeah, this creature is unique to him and another character in the series. I'm like, yes, this is Pokemon. Mm-hmm. This is exactly Pokemon.
Sounds like Pokemon and One Piece.
No, Pokemon is the Codex Alera, because that's one of the things that he was vetted to. Anyways, I talked about that before. Go watch season 1. Go listen to season 1.
Oh my goodness. Evelyn.
Yeah, actually, this is also a reread, similar to Chris. American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. So actually, the reason I am rereading it is because I saw a short clip on YouTube of the business card scene, which maybe you guys are familiar with, maybe not, but
Yeah.
it's high comedy to me. You have a bunch of businessmen comparing their business cards to each other, but the main character is like going through an entire crisis because he thinks their business cards look better than his, even though they all look exactly the same. But yeah, I was like, was the book as funny? I don't remember. So, if I read a book that's more than like 5 or 10 years ago, I forget all of it, basically, or most of it, except for
Oh,
like
I
the
forget
gist.
as soon as I'm done reading.
Yeah, like exactly. Like I'll remember the gist of it, but I might not remember the details.
Yeah, so in my head, I was like, I remember it being really funny. So let's see if it was as funny as I remember. So yeah, I took it out from the library and I reread it. And the parts that I remember as being funny were still funny. But the parts that were pretty graphic, I don't remember being as graphic. And when we say graphic, we mean like going all the way in terms of like, murder, rape, etc. Just like all the dark things that are going through this man's head are described so vividly. And I actually can't remember another book that describes it so in detail and so nastily. And I'm like, kudos to you, sir, because you went there to go to like such an extreme to you're reading it and you're like, oh, this is disgusting. This man is disgusting. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't think I've read anything else like it. And I think that's what is staying with me more this time around, rather than the humor of this man's psyche. Because a lot of the humor is like, well, to me, it's funny. Like if he sees like a certain person within his circle, they're dressed in a business suit, he can tell you the exact brand, everything from head to toe. So he's naming your Oliver Peoples glasses, your Giorgio Armani suit, the tie, the shirt. Throughout the entire book, he does not stop. And for me, I just love it. I don't know. Maybe it's the fashion of it, maybe it's the 80s of it, but for me, I'm just like obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with that detail because what he's doing is getting you inside this man's head. And when you're inside his head, this is what you're seeing through inside his head all the time. Like this is how you view it. Everything's either on the surface level, on the brand level. He's making a shitload of money. And actually there's a mention of Donald Trump more than a few times, which I didn't remember from the first time I read it. And
that
said,
would make
oh,
sense now.
exactly. I'm like, Donald Trump is his idol. This is exactly who this man is, He's
And now look.
So what I heard, which may or may not be true, is that they want to make a remake American Psycho for now, because like all the references are dated. Like it's from like I guess the 80s was the time, which is when excess and greed is good and all that good stuff. But like if they're pushing it to now, I'm actually not sure what industry they're going to do, because they said for the time it was finance. He's in mergers and acquisitions and all that. And for now, I know a few years ago they said like if they were doing it again today, it would be the tech industry for the tech bros. And I think that is quite accurate. Like you can actually do that with them. And I'll send you this clip because it's so funny. It's a comment, like it's a spoof satire of tech bros redoing the business card scene, except they're doing it with mechanical keyboards. And
that's great.
I think I saw that.
Have you
I
seen
think
it?
I've seen that one. Yeah,
I will send it to all of you because it is so funny. And actually, I watched that first, then I watched the original business card scene, and then I was like, let me reread the book again. So that's where it all starts.
I will say I've seen the business card scene a lot, like because it makes its rounds on social media quite a bit, and like I looked up American Psycho, like, and it was like apparently, if I am correct in remembering this, what was his name?
Patrick Bateman.
Patrick Bateman. Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, the actor.
Does it? Yeah. Okay.
He's the actor who plays the character.
So Christian Bale apparently very obsessively wanted to play this character to the point where because he had read the book, if I recall correctly, he apparently scared both the original writer of the book when he like
auditioned.
I don't know if he auditioned or just like was able to meet with the writer and like do it in character, that he scared the writer.
Yeah.
Like,
that is wild.
yeah, they were.
That
I
is
think
so.
they were eyeing. Who were they eyeing for this role? It might have been DiCaprio or someone else. But Christian Bale really
I
wanted to
would have
play
bet
this.
Tom Cruise actually.
I don't remember who
I
they.
don't think Tom Cruise would put the humor in it. That's the thing,
Yeah.
because he takes himself so seriously. I don't know if he would take the humor in it, but like I feel like Christian Bale was so perfect for the role, and I'm like, who could play that character now? I don't know, because he has to look a certain way.
He
He's like
does.
perfect head to toe, but also he's like obviously off kilter and like actually it's a little ambiguous. We don't really know if he's actually doing all these killings and all the nasty stuff that he's doing. We don't really know. It's also that's kind of in there.
Yeah, so
I
I just
think
double checked. They were seeking Leonardo DiCaprio for this role.
Mm, mm.
what?
Yeah.
Well, maybe Leonardo DiCaprio 30 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, she's talking about that time, right? I think you're talking about
Oh, okay.
at the time they were
Yeah.
looking to cast it, because I think the movie's from the early '90s or something, right?
Yeah,
If I'm
because
not
the
mistaken.
reboot, people were wanting, what's his name?
Year 2000 was when
From,
American Psycho got released, the
Oh,
movie.
okay.
who's the, from, ugh, can't remember his name. God
What
damn
does he
it.
look like? What does he look like?
He is from Euphoria, but he was also in that, he was also in Saltburn. What's his name?
Oh.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I'm blanking
Jacob
too.
Peter
Elordi.
Badgley?
Oh,
Ken
him.
Badgley.
Ken
Jacob,
Badgley.
no, Jacob
No?
Elordi.
Oh,
Oh.
Jacob
But
Elordi. Paul.
but no, yeah, not from you, from Saltburn and Euphoria.
My bad.
We shall see. I would watch a remake. I mean, I'll see what they do for now, because yeah, not a lot has, well, I guess stuff has changed, but not a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not in terms of
Yeah,
like the business culture and all that. Probably not.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
yes.
On a side
And
note,
then,
the
well,
scary part of that scene where they're looking at the business cards, Christian Bale apparently can control his sweat glands, so that sweat in that scene was perfectly controlled.
That is what I want to bring up too. Like the acting is perfect. That's why, like, when you have him in the role, you're like, you could not have gotten another man to do it.
Yeah,
And
this
you see
Christian
the
Bale.
turmoil and then the humor in it too. It's just, he was perfect.
Insane.
Insane.
I'm like, I think so. We're ending on books. But before, I'm going to rearrange our run of show topics and just briefly touch on, or have Tabrizia touch more on, AI and Meta using publishers, using work for publishers, or however it goes. Super briefly.
Well, yeah. So this was, I feel like it was Friday. It was discovered by the Atlantic an article that Meta took a lot of authors' books without their permission, and they put it into their, I don't know if it's like their database or website, to train their AI. So it was basically they committed copyright infringement. So the Atlantic, they allowed they embedded this like kind of, I don't to say, like this feature where people were authors were able to search by their name to see if any of their books were in their and Meta's database, and a lot of them were. Like a lot of authors were saying like all my 10 books are on there. It's not even just books; it's also scholarly articles that they copyrighted and they put in there, so it would be able to train their AI. So I know that there is a pending lawsuit against Meta, and I think authors don't have to like add their name to it, because I think they're just automatically included. But I just find it was just really disgusting to see Meta just taking other people's works and not asking permission to input it in there. And also a lot of people are complaining, like saying that, oh well, it's a library. It's like, it's not a library, because Meta didn't ask these authors and even the publishers for the permission to put their works in this database so it can train a machine. So I know a lot of authors have probably like questioned like whether to stay on any kind of meta platforms. I know one or two they said that they've left and went on to other platforms, but I feel like this is just probably the last straw for like the couple of the more despicable things that Meta has done over just the past couple of months lately.
Yeah, I think it's only gonna like, get worse, especially with our current administration and the and the lives that we live right now. So that sucks. But I think, big publishing isn't gonna not get their money, but this is another argument of I guess in some cases does have some use to it, but the ultimate goal, at least for the powers that be, is to eventually stop paying people to do certain work. Like if they can train an AI to write a book, they're going to like if they can train an AI to write a book, then they won't need publishers. And that's one of the controversies, and we don't have to dive into it this time around, but maybe our next session is how with the Oscars, how like two of the like I think the Brutalist and maybe Amelia Perez were helped with AI and like the script writing and the editing. And so one, that's one less person getting paid, but two, it's like how is this, if an AI, the argument will be made, well, AI can win awards, so like why do I have to try, or why do I have to pay people? So that's definitely a future conversation for us to have. But I want to spin it back and talk about fandoms or being a fanatic. Like as you all know, both you guys and people who have listened or will listen, huge K-pop fan, huge Thai BL fan. And so last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I got to meet, they're huge fan meet, and I got to meet two of my favorite BL actors. They came here to Queens. The organization was a bit miffy, but the overall experience was great. And so it kind of prompted me to kind of start this conversation about fandom and finding community. But also touching very, very briefly on like the darker side of fandom. So I just kind of want to open up the floor to you guys and be like, what are your fandoms? Like, what media do you guys religiously follow? Like, we spoke earlier about Pokemon and like Hello Kitty. Fandom doesn't just have to be like nerdy stuff, so, or K-pop stuff in my regard, but it can just be anything that you are kind of obsessed with, um, or really into, that again does not have to be like the typical stuff like video games or like I said, Pokemon or whatever. And I will start the floor with Evelyn on that.
I feel like when you say the word fandom, you automatically assume nerdy shit. Like, no one's gonna say like, obviously I'm a big fan of soccer. No one calls it a fandom,
Oh, you're
like, or
hooligans.
yeah, exactly. Or like if I'm a big fan of NFL, if I'm watching baseball, whatever, like they don't associate it with fandom, but it has the same kind of, I
It
don't know.
does.
You can have a
really
Because
does.
parallel to it, and that could be a whole other topic, to be honest, about like fandoms you usually associate maybe with women, at least in my head, like women who are online and talking about a very specific thing, or just like maybe it's anime related or anything, like something specific to that. But like the thing I'm a biggest fan of is soccer, and so I don't know if you would call it a fandom itself. So I don't
So
know
I
what
mean,
is loaded with the terminology there.
to
Yeah.
counter that, actually,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you've gotten these apps. I don't actually know how I get like the ads for these apps, but there is Fandom Duel, which is like literally betting on sports.
Betting, yeah.
Yeah, I get those ads, and I'm like, the fact is that they call it like, I think it's Fandom Duels or something like that.
Like
And I'm
I
like,
think it's FanDuel.
FanDuels, yeah, but
FanDuel, I think it's
that's what
FanDuel,
it is.
not
But I'm like,
Fandom.
I think fandom gets that connotation of like being nerdy because that's usually where that word has been applied to, like comic books, video games, TV shows. It doesn't get applied to sports, even though it easily could, considering there's trading
And
cards,
it
and
should.
it should.
And
It
the word
should.
fan, yeah, exactly. The
Yeah,
fan part sticks there, but no one would say, "Oh, I'm part of the soccer fandom." You know,
exactly.
it's kind
Because
of funny when you say it that way. But they are very much in parallel, for sure. I live and breathe it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's certain like overlaps, maybe not, but yeah, I think
No,
that's pretty funny. But I would say, like, when I was younger, I was probably into more fandom related things that you would think of when you're thinking about like online communities and that kind of things. Oh, whether the fan fictions and this and that. I mean, not that I'm not reading. I mean, I am reading some now, but I wouldn't say I'm part of any kind of community or anything like that. But I'm curious to know what you guys are thinking.
I think kind of going back to the sports thing, I always want to argue that, and this is such a larger conversation, that to your point, Evelyn, that uh, fandom is so much more associated with like more feminine things or like women being fan of things, which I would totally want to like rewrite that narrative because what was it? What just happened in sports? Like the Luca
Which
guy getting in basketball, where like this Luca guy got traded to the Lakers from Denver, and like men were outside of the stadium carrying a casket, and I'm just like,
yeah,
and
the
I was like, this
over
is
the
so
topness is at the same level. We are at the same level of
exactly.
craze. You know, you can't say like, "Oh, I'm better than that," because my fandom is different or whatever. It's like it's the same level of insanity.
Yeah, and so it's like it's that genderedness of it because
Mm.
I like again, K-pop fan, I get albums, those comes with photo cards. What's the difference? There's no difference between a photo card and like a trading card for a baseball, like for
Oh
a
yeah,
sportswear.
100%.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're
And
wearing
like
the
how
shirt of your
did
favorite player. You know, like you're wearing the
right?
shirt of your favorite K-pop idol.
So I just think it's crazy. Go
But I
ahead,
think
Tamika.
when I think of fandom, I think it's like you're immersing yourself in that world. And it's like, because even though, yes, you have sports and music, but now it's even going into books because you have, like, with the latest Hunger Games, uh, prequel, I don't know, sequel, prequel, I don't know
It's
what
a
is
prequel.
going on.
Is it
Yeah.
the one?
It's
Is
Haymitch's
it the one with?
story.
Oh, why? What? I mean, I guess you
Wait,
did
wait,
Yeah,
wait,
answer.
what?
exactly. And
There
like,
was
you
a
know
book.
what?
Oh,
There's
shit.
a
Hey,
new book.
I'm never gonna
Sunrise
read
of
it
the
because
Reaping.
I'm never gonna, because I hate the Hunger Games. But it was horrible. But
I
but
tried.
yeah, you have that world because people have have these like midnight release things, and like, going back into, like, the factions, the districts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have, like, with the romantasy like series that are happening. So you have, when I think of fandoms, it's like you're immersing yourself in this fictional world, and it's just like taking your mind off of like everything. And that's the
Escapism.
same. Yeah, escapism. It's like, and same with sports and music. But I necessarily don't even consider those fandoms because, like, that's reality.
It's real.
It's real. It's real. It's real.
Star
It's real.
Wars is real too, Tabrisha. Don't
What?
take away
I
Skywalker from me. No.
it's so funny because
What?
it
No,
was
no, no, no. Back up. Did you just say Star Wars is real?
Wars is
It's real in my
real.
heart. It's real in my
Okay.
heart.
Wow. That's a whole separate thing we need to talk.
Yeah, no.
oh my god. No, because here's the thing. So I was having a discussion about fandom, like especially after having discovered like all of my like old sketchbooks, right? I was having a discussion about fandom with one of my friends, and and I was like, oh, like my first fandom was this because that's the fandom, or like that's the series or the media that I started creating like work for. And she was like, so wait, how do you consider what do you consider your fandom? And I'm like, it feels different if I'm participate like if I am participating in someone else's fandom. Like for example, let's pretend like the fact that I know exactly who the members of BTS are, but I am not a fan of their music. That's me participating in someone else's fandom. That's me being like a visitor, or like or somebody of somebody else's fandom. That's me like seeing someone else's like stuff is how I feel about it. But if I am participating like actively in a fandom, it means I'm creating transformative works for it, like fan art or fan fiction. It's I am immersed, as Tabrisha said, I am immersing myself in the world, or being creative around it. Like I feel like, to me, an essential part of being in fandom and participating in it is like the interaction that you have with the media. There are some people, sorry, I think I misspoke earlier. I didn't there's a difference between consuming like the media and participating in the fandom of the media. That's what I was the distinction that I was trying to make.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because
Right.
there are some people who aren't reading the fan fiction of Star Wars or anything like that, but they're
But
just
they
watching the
participate.
movies, right?
Exactly, but they're fans of it. Like I think being a fan of a media does not necessarily equate you being in the fandom of that.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
was trying to say.
No, I agree because I'm in a bunch of so-called fandoms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but one, I'm 30 years old, and so fandom is feels a little, not to be, I guess, internalized ageist, but like fandom just feels so much
It's
younger and younger, and in being, and it's not because I'm like, bitch, I was a fan of XYZ before you
yeah.
because you're 12, but you still feel like you're getting pushed out of certain spaces.
The
Like
way
you'll
we interact
see,
with it as older generations,
yeah,
like, is inherently different from how the present generations interact with it. That's just a fact.
yeah,
Because we started, I feel like our generation of fandom started when like um depending on the media, obviously, like before like internet was even like a fully developed thing. And like when the internet like became more accessible to so many people, more communities formed online. Like that's, and we were smack dab in the generation where online communities are like we're rising up. And but the communities today are much more different, because it's not the same kind of interaction that we were having in the past. It's strange. There's a huge difference between like me participating in fandom, like say during the 2000s, for example, and then like in the 2010s when Tumblr was very active, and then like now there's huge difference between each
yeah,
of these generations. And obviously fandom is also a lot older than we think it is, because like women and other people were writing fan fiction for Star Trek before like the internet existed.
The
So
OG
mm-hmm.
Slash.
The
exactly.
OG Slash.
Exactly.
I just look. I don't read fan fiction, though. I do want to thank the Supernatural fandom for not inventing it, but like kicking off the Omegaverse.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I know, it wasn't that long ago that I learned that they were the start of
Yes,
that. I was like, holy crap.
Oh, I'm in hysterics. I didn't know that bit. I knew about the Megaverse. I did
yes.
not know the roots in Supernatural.
I'm not shocked.
It's
Yeah.
all
Same. Not shocked,
Supernatural is
but
always at the scene of the crime.
Yeah,
oh,
I love the memes. I've never watched the show ever, but I'm obsessed with the
I got
memes of the
pretty
show.
deep in the show, but I
When
didn't finish it.
you can't finish Supernatural. Like
Mikey
after a
did.
while, well,
Calling her out like
Mike,
that. She doesn't want the information
Mikey is
known.
a
I'm just
better
kidding.
person than me.
I think I got to like
uh,
season 7. I just had to stop.
Just for context, Mikey is one of my oldest friends.
She's been mentioned.
I don't remember her being mentioned before, but like, yes, context, one of my oldest friends. Finisher of Supernatural, apparently.
Yep.
That's her title.
That's her title, yeah.
I just remember, I think Tumblr was, and like the early stages of YouTube were like my first introduction into fandom, but now I'm like so entrenched. It's like the different K-pop factions, which that kind of like just leads, which God, I stay away from BTS Army because
Where are you guys hanging out though? Are you on Tumblr or are you in the separate?
No, like I think Tumblr is not Tumblr anymore. Like, have you? I mean, I still have a Tumblr, but it's a porn site now.
I do.
It's more image based. And also not as much.
It looks like Twitter. It looks like old Twitter.
And then also trying to, I think, become TikTok.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tumblr is where I found not Thai BL, but like just BL in general fandom. I like met a lot of like friends on there, which I like still talk to. One of them, she lives in Florida. I've never met her in real life, but I've like watched her, like I know her, and I've like watched her son grow up and like live, and we talk almost every day, but we've never like really met each other in person. I hope my mom does not listen to this part of it. But it's like crazy because like and we just talk about different books, and we started off in like this romance fandom by this author, which is how I kind of developed this obsession with fandom. And then K-pop came into my life, and then the pandemic happened, and now I'm just like doing everything and doing too much. But I kind of want to like talk more about whether or not how you guys find in your team of communities or different fandoms, sports, books, whatever, like how do you feel about finding community? Like how have you made friends, or these people that you kind of still talk to, like Tabrizia with your blog? Like you've met a lot of people, especially like your fellow Jane Austen folks, which is a fandom.
You have to tell me. It's probably one of the like, and probably a lot of people are gonna like say something, but it is one of the most successful ones because it has prolonged for even after a person who has died over like 200 years ago, and it still prolongs, and it's something that gets continually adapted over and over again. It's definitely a fandom. It has conventions and general membership meetings, so yeah, definitely a fandom.
Are you in those membership meetings?
I've never attended one. I would like to. I would like to go to one. One, I think this year is in Baltimore, but yeah, I never had the time to go.
Just go. It's in Baltimore. It's a train ride.
It's not always in Baltimore. One time it was in Utah.
And that's more reason for you to go.
More reason for you to go. But plus, Baltimore is gorgeous because it's a port town, so it's like on the water, and they have great seafood there if you're into seafood.
I don't remember where Baltimore is.
Maryland.
DC. It's in Maryland. It's in the DMV
right? Okay,
area.
cool. My brain blanked. I'm like, I don't remember where Baltimore is. Wait.
How do you? Oh my goodness gracious! But I found like a great community through my different fandoms, and and librarianship. But like you guys are my community. We all have different fandoms, and yet we kind of like all just came together to form this amazing podcast, which hope to have a whole other season to kind of talk more about. But I just wanted to just talk general about whether you find in certain aspects in your spaces, uh whether you found your community to be more helpful to like the develop more wanting you to be more into the fandom, or if it's kind of like a source of kind of anxiety, or you're just like or maybe you don't want to participate as much, or finding other avenues to participate in.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, just really quick. As somebody who is, I guess, technically a part of the superhero fandom, absolutely not. I do not want to interact with these people. I will simply lurk on Reddit because that's as
that's as close as you'll
that's
get.
as close as I'll get.
You are an observer of the fandom. You are not the.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
It really and
It's very toxic in there.
I mean, truly, like just bouncing off of that, like it truly depends on the fandom that I am trying to like be part of, because like on the one hand, like obviously, like as an anime fan, as a video game fan, like everybody has their own opinions, and I think the bigger the fandom, the more open it is to like toxicity, negativity, and other things that I don't necessarily want to be part of. Like like I mean, as a lot of people say, for example, Star Wars, like nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. Things like
And Tabrizia.
Yeah.
I still don't get it.
She can't debate what she hates about it though. That's the difference.
No, I can debate what I hate about it. It's because it's like they keep having this galactic war over and over again, and it seems not to solve anything. I'm like, what is the fucking point? You keep fighting over and over again, and it's like, when does it end?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Like in our world,
yeah, it mirrors our world. We have wars over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, look,
and a dictator is always rising up and taking our shit.
Hello.
And making eggs $15.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, if we're gonna get to the nitty gritty of it, obviously, like there's a lot to be like, there's examined, a lot to be criticized, and a lot to like discuss about Star Wars fandom as a whole, and Star Wars as like a media in general. We're not having that discussion today. Maybe we're going to do it in a future episode, but.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Don't. I actually don't want to see it because, like,
oh my God,
I have very little to defend.
Oh no, I just want to see it I just want to do it just for Tabrizia's reaction. That's it.
So
it would be like screaming the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why are you torturing me with this? Because the only time I can watch Star Wars is when Family Guy and Robot Chicken.
Oh, Robot Chicken's extremely good.
Like, I love the Robot Chicken parody.
So that's the only time I have like any vague understanding of what
it's okay.
What the ever like George Lucas has created. But I am frustrated at this like thing. It's like, what is there more to talk about in this thing?
I mean, look, it depends on like how you view it, because like for me, like even just the words "a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away" already opens up tons of opportunities of stories to tell in the Star Wars universe. The unfortunate thing is that does not make it to the main media because, money and Disney. And
yes. Disney is the problem.
Disney Star Wars is different from like I think what Star Wars originally used to be. So that's all I really have to say.
I think I 100% agree. I mean,
the vibes are different. The vibes are
disagree though. No, it's so different. In fact, I had this conversation with someone very recently. Right, well, it's because George Lucas had a point. But real quick, it was coming from his point of view and his point of view only, and Disney has to make everything okay for everyone, so it's different that way.
And also the toy tie-ins, and again, money. So I think like the original trilogy, as much as I love Hayden Christensen, obviously, like the original trilogy can stand on its own, but I think once CGI happened and redoing Who Shot First and all of that, then it definitely did tie in, because at some point to Tabrizia's points, I roll. It is the same story, but that's because like these what's his name? Darth Vader is always going to be like such a popular character and a popular like tie-in to toys and other media and all of that. So fix your face, Tabrizia. Fix your face.
I feel like you guys are just even proving even more of my
We
frustration
are
with
not
this.
agreeing with you.
Look, I have already said that I have very little to defend RE Star Wars specifically. I just like, but as a media in general, like it is something that like I still like have a lot of appreciation for. Like
No,
despite like the many transgressions that have occurred within like the current state of it, but like
many,
again,
many.
I'm only bringing Star Wars up to like my original point of like no one hates a media more than its fans truly, especially like the bigger it becomes. So like so going back very far back, pulling this back, like the bigger a fandom is, the more hesitant I am to participate in it actively, because like that's gonna be like a pool of people's opinions that I don't particularly care about. But like if I've managed to be in a smaller community of the fandom, like because I think now that like older community spaces no longer exist, like because I was there in the generation of like message boards. I started in forums, I started in live journal, and those were like very like different spaces for community back then. And now like, and then it moved to Tumblr, and then after Tumblr like changed, um I think now the current spaces are actually in Discord, like if you're building like real conversations and communities. So like because mainly because in Discord you can make safer and smaller spaces depending on what you're trying to build. And that's where like I've found some of like my like like actual connections and people who are willing to like, because outside of like so I have a specific fandom that I'm in, and then like sometimes friends will be made within that fandom, and we'll start our own Discord server together. And then that small Discord server will like will like probably band together to do something together. Like I have a small writing group that spawned out of like a different Discord server. So like that's something that's like that's for me like a better like representation of like what it means to be in it, like creating the space and being able to
Yeah.
create something with your friends, you know.
And yeah. And with that, I think that's a perfect way to kind of end on this discussion. We can talk about it all day and maybe a little bit in the future, but let's kind of wrap up and talk about what we're looking forward to in the next couple weeks, couple months, either whatever's happening between now and our next recording, or maybe even a little bit after. To bring it up.
Recovering from jet lag.
Yes.
I am going to Scotland next week with my mom.
Ooh.
So I'm excited and also anxious about it because of with just everything going on. I don't like going there. I don't think is going to be a problem. It's just coming back that I have um apprehensions about. So,
Well,
but I am but I am looking forward to it. I haven't been to Scotland since 2018 or
Oh,
so.
that's a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, so I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, spending time in Edinburgh, going into the Highlands. So yeah.
bring Chris and me back like some scotch or something cool. Or no,
Yeah,
yeah,
it might be a
scotch. I
very
was gonna say
small bottle of scotch because I'm
it's
Hey, look,
okay.
all I'm saying is it'll be right in time for my birthday, so it's all good. Oh, past it, but still.
No, that's all. Yeah, I was gonna say bring us back Guinness, but obviously that's Ireland.
That's,
So,
yeah, I was like, that's the wrong.
yeah, that wrong country.
so bring us back some scotch. It can be a thimbleful. That's fine. Um,
from the flight.
And from the duty free. Um, by the time we record this, we will volume 9. I always forget what volume we're on.
I think so.
So we will be publishing volume 9 of the library zine.
Oh, sorry, no, 8.
8. So we'll be publishing volume 8. You don't have to edit this out, Chris. It's all fine. Volume 8, the library zine, will be coming out April 17th, which we're super excited about. We're pushing it back later and later, but I think that's also fine. This is a free labor of love. And then lastly, I will be doing many more fan meets. Super excited, particularly in the summer. And then cool little shout out, my niece is graduating in June. So the first grandbaby to graduate, and she's still deciding on colleges, but I'm hoping she will pick either Hobart or Ithaca. My sister-in-law went to Ithaca, my brother went to Hobart. So I think to do pre-law, pre-med, something like that. But I'm super excited for her and that's not even about me. So any other shout outs, any other excitements? Chris, Tessa, Evelyn?
I am going to a concert is April next week already? Or am I thinking
Yes.
Wait,
yes.
Wait, this coming week, no. By next Sunday it'll be the 31st.
No, 31st.
Yeah, so
okay, so
Monday.
the week after.
Yes,
that's
2 weeks. What concert?
Definitely. Oh, the Deftones. I think I mentioned it before,
Nice.
but
Yeah,
like, I'm still looking forward to it. Like this entire time, I'm like, you can't come soon enough.
Like my only thing is I got Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's it.
And then Tessa's just gonna recover from her trip. But awesome. Well, thanks again. That's the end of episode 3, season 2, episode 3. Thank you for listening to Fake Book Club. Again, you can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. And we are now on Pandora. Thank you. I hope my mom is listening there. And you can visit us per usual at fakebookclubpodcast.wordpress.com. Our next episode will be hosted by Tabrizia, where she will be talking about her trip and other stuff. So with that, we bid you adieu and have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.